Welcome to our Year 2 presentation this evening. Great to see you all. So just recapping, we want this across all of year preschool and going into reception and all the way through our children's lives. We want them to develop as individuals who are curious, motivated, inspired, independent thinkers, problem solvers, caring, being considerate, resilient, passionate, communicators, confident and happy. And it's great to see lots of this coming out now. You know, lots of them becoming resilient, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a minute with Reggie Tortoise, which I'm sure you may have heard about Reggie. And, you know, keep on trying, independent, having a go, which is really good. And lots of children have been having a go at different things over the last few weeks, like pedalling a bike or going down the hill, a bit of risk taking down the balance bikes. And it's quite great to see their confidence growing. And, you know, they're all really, really caring, which is so lovely to see all of them. So that's what we want to develop in preschool, and they're not doing well. So the early years foundation stage this year, the statutory framework was updated, which came into place in September 2021. And the curriculum, and so there's 3 prime areas that we really want to focus on. They're the main ones that we want our children to be confident and concrete in, and that's the physical. Obviously, physical development is broken down into 2 parts. So you've got your gross motor, which is your climbing, balancing, walking, running, tiptoeing, skipping, you know, being able to negotiate spaces, and then you've got your fine motor, which is with your with their fingers. So you know, mark making, scissors, tools, techniques, all those things come under there. And obviously then you've got your self-care, which is being able to wash your hands with soap, which they're all great at because they love the taps in there with the soap, and the magic taps just come on, and often you'll find children in there just exploring the water, which is great. And being able to use the toilet, recognising when they need to go, you know, and we're always happy to prompt, you know, at this age it's expected them to have a little couple of accidents or needing still a little bit of a reminder to go. Then we've got our communication and language. And that is broken down into 3 areas. So you've got your listening and attention, so being able to listen to a story, being able to build up their attention span to take part in, you know, longer activities, you know, so being able to complete a game or listen to a story, a longer story as time goes on. And then you've got your understanding, so, you know, being able to understand following a simple instruction, understanding, you know, those preposition words like under, over, on top of, can you put the pen on top of the frog, you know, and what's really good is to put it in, not into perspective, so kind of putting really random stuff in that they're not going to think of, you know, that you wouldn't do, but actually it's good just to see their knowledge get built up. And then you've got your speaking, so that's building up their vocabulary and extending their sentences and having a conversation with other children or other adults or yourselves. And communication and language is so important. You know, it's one of the biggest things, you know, I'd say. You can't do enough talking. So we encourage lots of talking. And, you know, little techniques when we're wanting to build up vocabulary. Books are a great way of doing that. Reading lots, sharing lots of stories. And also when they're using a sentence, so they might say, oh, look at the blue car. When you say that back to them, say, look at the blue sparkly car, or look at the shiny golden fish. You know, adding an extra word in that they haven't used, just back at them, increases their vocabulary bank, which is a really good idea to do. Then you've got their personal, social, emotional, and that's building upon social, you know, socialising with other children, with other adults, familiar adults, and, you know, taking turns and managing their feelings, so being able to kind of express how they feel. And I would say it's really important that children can express how they feel. You know, it's okay to feel sad, it's okay to feel angry, you know, and when children are sad at school, I say, how are you feeling? And, you know, so it's okay to feel sad, you've fallen over, you've hurt yourself, or something hasn't quite gone right. It's good to accept those feelings, because that's normal. We all get sad sometimes, and we all could get angry, you know, something doesn't quite work out, but it's showing them it's okay, and it's showing them okay ways to express that emotion, you know. So And that's something for the person to do. And then you've got your 4 specific areas, which is literacy, so that comes into your writing, and your listening to stories again. It kind of crosses over a bit with communication and language. And then mathematics comes under numbers, so lots of counting, one-to-one correspondence. So, children will say, we all think children count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's kind of recalling the numbers, which is great. We really want them to know that. But actually being able to count those objects so that there's a plate of 4 sweets, going pointing to each one and being able to count them would be really good. And then, they're great at maybe when it's in a line, counting that line of sweets, actually then having a misarrangement of how the sweets are presented, so they might be all dotted over and they can still count the sweets and not recount one that they've counted already. Also we want them to see, recognise formations of objects. So if there's, like on a dice, it always looks like there's 3. So without having to count them, they learn that's 3, that's 2, that's 1. And we want them to be able to do that up to 3, we'd say. They can see that that's the number. Understanding of the world, we want them to have lots of family time with you all, being able to enjoy special times, celebrate events with you, go out to celebrations. They're all fantastic things to be able to do. And then we want down to the next stage would be looking at wildlife and the nature around us and our world and our cultures. So we do lots of different things to cover that. We've got all the animals and the chickens and the guineas. And going out on school trips is lots of exploring our locality around us, which is great. And then we've got our expressive arts and design. And this group love to paint, which is which is lovely. So painting's not just one of the ways, lots of media. So painting, Play-Doh, musical instruments, all of that coming in to expressive art and design. And we have lots of that in preschool as well. Any questions on that? So, I'm going to introduce you to some of the things that you might have heard of. Has anyone heard of Jane Jigsaw at home? So, Jenny comes out in our little group time sessions, and the children love her. She waits for them to sit down and she gives them away. And how we started off is we introduced Jane Jigsaw to the group, and they introduced themselves to Jane, so they told her their name and what they like or their favourite toy. And then as the year goes on, we cover different areas of PSHE, which is personal, social and emotional. And the school do it as well, so it follows through through all of the school. And they each class different colours. So reception and preschool are blue for Jenny. Year 4 have purple. Year 4 have purple. And year 2 have orange?
No, year 3 have orange.
Year 3 have orange. So lots of different colours there, which is really, really nice. And then what we do is this time we're doing being me in the world, and then we do celebrating difference, we do dreams and goals, what we have to be when we're older, anything we want to try at, healthy me, relationships and changing me. So we cover that all through the year with Jenny, with little group times, and the children love it. So I'll put a little bit on the blog what we've been covering so you can see that at home. And then building learning powers. So these are new this year. We've been doing building learning powers before this year, but Miss Johnson, who left in the summer, very kindly donated each class their very own bag of learning powers across the school. So we've got Reggie the Resilient Tortoise here, who we've introduced this term. So I don't know if you heard about him? Yeah. So Reggie wants to see everyone try, everyone give it a go. It might not work, but I'm going to keep on trying. Or I can't do it, but add the word yet on. So those are sort of things at home you want to be using with the children, because I know lots, to begin with, children, can't do that. And I say, can't do it yet, but we're going to keep on trying. So, because I always explain to the children that if you say to your brain, I can't do it, your brain's not going to help you to do it. Whereas if you say, I can't do it yet, but I'm going to keep on trying, it kind of gives them that motivation and that keep on trying, that persevering kind of thing. So this is Reggie. So he's resilient. And he comes with little cards. So little speech bubbles, and we share this. This is something we share at group time. And then the important thing to make it back to the children is to say to them, oh, you know, I saw so-and-so trying really hard, and they kept on trying today to use those scissors. So putting it back to the children, showing them how they've been resilient, and I think that's really important. We also have on Marvellous Me, Resilient Tortoise, so you might get a badge for a Resilient Tortoise that comes in. And and then the next one that we'll be doing next half term is Resourceful Spider, and she's Rose. So we'll hear lots about Rose next half term. Rose the Resourceful Spider. We haven't done Rose, we only just one every half term. Ours is a bit like, whoa, too much over there. So, and then we've got Monkey, who's a reflective monkey. And then we've got
the special one is the bee.
Rennie, who's all about teamwork. And she'll come out. So we'll do lots of that. So that's how our build and learning powers. I think that's really important. We want our children to kind of, life's never straightforward plain sailing. We might go down in the pit, and we have to climb ourselves out of that pit by learning, okay, and persevering. So that's what we want to teach children, which makes them independent learners and more confident, and all those things we talk about, curious, will come through those learning powers. And then we've got Emotions Monster. Now he's called a Worry Monster, and I didn't put Worry Monster on the website, on the Facebook blog, because I thought we were all going to worry him. Oh, it's just a Worry Monster. He is a Worry Monster, and they have him across the school, but he's more of an Emotions Monster, okay? So inside him, in this main school, the children can write little notes if they've got any worries, and they can put them inside, and the teacher will have a look and pick those up. Obviously, our children at this age aren't writing, but we also want to allow them the opportunity and give them that time. If there is something worrying them, that they can express that, because that's really important. Or actually, on the same thing, if they're really happy, that's just a sign. Or they're feeling really silly, we want that to be able for them to express it. So we have some little cards in, and we've got happy, and we've got feeling silly, and worried, and sad, and angry. So these are up, and they're in our book called The Worry Monster, and the children can come up at any point in the day. If they have their feeling, pick the card they want off and pop them in here. And then we are, as us practitioners, we look at that and think, oh, it's been used, it's been held, if someone's in there, and we'll go over and sit with that child and just find out if there's anything, might be because they're really happy. You know, and it's really interesting because I've had a child come to me and say, Worry wants something to tell you. And that's what you want, because he doesn't want to tell you himself, but he wants to tell the Worry wants got something, and it's in his perspectives. And then we talk about it, and that's all sorted, and it works really, really well. So this is something that's really good. So I can't express enough, it's okay for children to express their emotions, whether it's happy, sad, allow that to happen, and talk it through with them, you know, because we all have emotions, and it's good to share those. Any questions on that so far? Okay, so letters and sounds. It's very kind of, we want to build up their letters and sounds. So we kind of have a program that we follow. This time of year, we're doing lots of singing, which they love, which is really fun. We love to learn a few new songs. Crazy. And we also, our stories that we choose are like repeated refrains. So I'm sure you've heard the Shark in the Park story. Anyone who wants to borrow it is more than welcome. So for example, it's Timothy Pope. Timothy Pope has a brand new telescope. He looks at the sky, he looks at the ground, he looks left and right, and he looks all around. What can he see? And they say, there's a shark in the park! And that's the repeated refrain. And the children love it, and we want them joining in, so they're all joining in repeated refrains. So that's really important. This is what we do at this time of year. So singing, repeated refrain books, any of those at home are really good. And next term we'll be focusing on rhyming endings. So Gio Donaldson is great for that. You know, so getting them to pick out those rhyming words in their story, leaving the Gio Donaldson endings at the end off and seeing if they can tell you what that rhyming word is at the end. And then having lots of fun and making up your own rhyming words. And children, you'll know when we're doing rhyming because you'll just get it non-stop at home. And it's really, really important when there are rhyming, value every rhyming word that does rhyme, even if it's a nonsense word. But we always explain to them, yes, it does rhyme, but it's a nonsense word, it's not a real word, so explain that to them, but let them rhyme. You can have great fun. We have like potion pops and we put things in and we put out things that rhyme. So lots of rhyming is really, really good. And then we start at Read, Write, Think Nursery, which the school do Read, Write, Think over at school. And towards next term, we learn the pitch names of the cards. So nothing to do with the sounds to begin with, we just learn the pictures. So we learn Maisie next to the mountain, apple, snake, dinosaur, and so on. We just do the names of the pictures to begin with. And then, depending how the children are getting on with that, if they're ready for that next step, we'll then start learning the sounds of the card from the Read, Write, Ink programme. And I will do an input session of how we do that on another evening. We're nearer the time, so you'll be able to share that at home if you'd like to, and that builds up. Also, what we do is after Christmas is Fred Frog. It's a very famous Fred Frog. He is a particular frog that looks like this from Read, Write, Ink. It's only a Read, Write, Ink frog. And he comes along and he's for oral blending and segmenting. So he might come and sit on my shoulder and play really funny games like, today in my bag I've got, and then I'll sound out the word So I'll do it a few times, but at preschool age it's really hard for them to get and it can take a while. So when I do it really like I'm really struggling to do it and I'm having to really think because it's not easy, and doing it really slowly and repeat it a couple of times and they go, oh, cat. So anything at home is really good, not at this time of the year but later on after Christmas, is you might say to when you're at home, rather than saying, can you go and get a cup, you might go, can you go and get a cup? And then keep repeating it a couple of times and then say cup, and then they could go and get a cup. So that's a really good kind of skill to build upon. And I would say, across the week, we do lesson sounds every morning, whether that's a story or whether it becomes Read, Write, Ink or so forth. And then Jenny and Build and Learn House, Emotion Monster is spread out in between all the week, and that everyone gets that opportunity to experience that as well. Okay, so key workers. I think it's really important before just writing a list of that's your key worker child in the group. Actually, I think it's really important that we get to know the children and see which adults they click with, and then we will group them into a group. So previously we've just had key worker, and you've had one key worker, to parents that have been here before. We've actually last year extended to a key worker group, so it's 3 adults in the group, staff-wise. So it'll be myself and 2 other staff, and then on the other group it'll be myself and 2 others. So I'm on both groups. And it's an opportunity, you can talk to any one of us. Obviously you've got an assigned key worker that you can talk to. What is lovely here at Prince of Wales is we are a very small team, and we, you can hopefully approach all of us, that's how we feel, but you will get a key worker group assigned to each of the children, and that will come home in the next week, I'd say, for that. And it's been lovely just to see the children settle in. That's what we want for the beginning of the term. Then we've got My Magical Achievement Books, which they had in Year 1 preschool, and they're kept in the drawers out here. And obviously now that Stay and Play is happening, you're very welcome to have a look at those in when you come in. But also these will come home every half term. and you'll be able to put your own little bit on it from what you've done in the holidays, your adventures, or things you'd like to share. And when the children come back in, we can share that. So in the Magical Achievement book, we put photographs, pieces of their artwork, magical words that they've come out with, or little phrases, and also all your lovely wow moments that you send in there as well. And then you've got that to take home with you. So I think the important thing is it's not about the observations. The YFS has really changed this year from that. What the UIF is about is actually spending time with the children, not about the paperwork or the observations. You know, we know the children hopefully really, really well, and we can tell you about the children because we spend so much time and we interact with them. I'd rather my staff be chatting, interacting and being with the children than worrying about writing observation or sticking in notes. So there won't be times when you pull open the drawer that it's not all stuck in. It will get stuck in, but just, you know, bear with. And I think the important thing is that the adults are with the children because that's the most important bit. So yeah, and home learning that you send in will also go in there. Parents' evening, there's twice a year for that. Please don't ever wait for a parents' evening if you want to ever catch me or anyone else or any members of the staff, any of your key worker team. You're always welcome to catch them at any point during the day, the weeks. Please don't wait for a parents' evening event. Parents' evening is coming up in 2 weeks' time, so that information will be out next week to you all, so you can sign up for a session, and then the next one's in February, which is an opportunity as well. Wow slips, they can be found outside in a plastic board wallet. Sometimes they're a bit soggy if it's been raining, and we are trying to look into a better way of doing it. One idea was whether we put them in the pigeonholes on a Friday, like a small wad of them, but we didn't want to overface you, like, oh, I've got a feeling of wow, because they put one in. So I don't know what your feedback is on that. What would you rather have some put in, or would you rather just collect your own?
I think put in.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I've got a couple at home that are laminated, so I do them at home, take a photo of her, but obviously they're at home, they're not here.
Yes, I just did want to kind of put that, you know, I know when my children were here and they used to beg me to write them, and I'm like, what can I write? So, and that is a question, like, children do like them because we share them at group time. Please don't think it needs to be an achievement, okay? It can be something you've done really, really fun with family, something you've gone out and done with each other, or played a game at home, or had something yummy for tea that you've never had before. It doesn't need to be a big achievement, you know, so it can be lovely, just things that you like to do at home, which is really nice. And it's lovely, the children love sharing them. So some of the ones we have had are things like, I've learned to ride my bike without stabilisers, or I've tried a new food, or even just news they've been on holiday with their family and they played on the beach, you know, and we share that at group time and we give a little round of applause, and it's just really, really lovely. And the same with any home learning that comes in, we always share that as well, and a little round of applause, and we've got our own little board up to celebrate that. And it was really interesting because this end of last week, I saw the children actually looking up their pictures of them at home, of their home learning, and they were pointing out who was who, so that was really, really nice. And Marvellous Me. So Marvellous Me, if you've all got your, I know Caroline put the codes back out again, if anyone's got any problems getting onto Marvellous Me, do come and see me. And we aim to send at least one Marvellous Me a week. And like I said before, I'd rather be able to put time into the children who trying to take lots of photos. So we say one a week is definitely achievable. We hope to always send more than that. So it might not be a photo, it might be a badge, it might be just an activity that they've done. Click for the next one. The blog! So this is always on a Sunday evening, and I try and do it, I always do it on a Sunday evening because I think that gives you, that you know it's there, as long as you look at it, it's going to be there. And it's a way of keeping up to date with what's happened, knowing what my children are like. When I want to do at school today, nothing. It's a good way of finding out what they have been doing. It's a good way of finding out what been happening at preschool. I try and write it in great detail, and then the week after I do less detail because we go with the children's interests. It can change quite quick with what we have planned. And any notices are on there, and I'll also start, now we know about these, I'll start adding what we've been doing with J Jigsaw and Resilient Tortoise and so forth, so you can see that. And there's some home learning, and I try and base the home learning on a few different options, so you can choose what you'd like to do or what they would like to do, or do you know what, even do what you like to do and bring it in because we love to see it. So yes. Quick note from Karen about medication. So always keep us up to date with any medication reviews, particularly, Karen will check with you every half term, just every term to check if anything's changed. If anything has changed in that time, always come and see us. If it's asthma or it's a long-term kind of plan that needs to be in place, we'd rather have that on a paper copy that we fill in here. But if, for example, someone's had a chest infection or an infected finger, and they just need some amoxicillin for a very short time, like a week, there's a form online on the school website that can be filled in, which comes directly to myself, which I can print out in prep, ready for when they're in that time to administer it. So any questions on medication? And the same with if you move house or telephone numbers or emergency contact details change, just keep us up to date with those because they're really important. Preschool trips! Yay! So COVID got in the way of this really big time, and I'm making the most of it now to get out while the going's good. So already we've done 2 trips. We've been to the Sunflower Trail and we've been to the park last week, and we're going to the farm this week. So that's quite good already for the first half term. And what I've always tried to do is make sure the trips are on different days, so different groups of children get that opportunity. Because realistically, to take every single child to every single trip is impossible, because of the ratios of staff, and actually what the children actually get out of it isn't as much. When you go in a nice small group, you're able to have that time and spend time. So we are going to the farm this week. We will also go to the farm in spring, and I'll make sure that children, unless they haven't been this time, go in the spring. When we come back after half term, hoping to go to Falcon Woods for a couple of afternoons, and the majority of the children get that opportunity for that. We do a post-box surprise, and I won't let any more out of that because that's always good fun. At Christmas we go to the Poundbury Garden Centre and have a cafe for a drink and look at the Christmas decks. In World Book Day week we go to Dorchester Library. And in the past we have been to Plymouth Beach, but that does depend on what is happening in the year and so forth. But that's what we've done before. Doesn't mean, as I was saying before, we're going to go to the Tiger Who Came to Tea exhibition next year as well. So that isn't on there because that's something that's just a one-off. So there will be opportunities for trips. We'll try and get as many of the children to do as many as we can. Obviously, generally, everyone goes to the garden centre, everyone goes to the library, and I'd hope that I get most people to the woods as well in that time. We either go on a school coach that's organised, which Caroline's done, and if not, I've got a VW transporter, which children do love going out in. Which I've got insurance through, all the correct things for school, so car seats and all that relevant documentation that needs to be done. So those are in trips. Anyone who mentioned about trips or questions you've got on trips? No? And next one, Joanna? Changing bags. So, as of tomorrow, these will start coming home. And they are just to borrow, so they have to come back in July. But we'll send them home, and if you can fill them with a spare set of clothes for everything. Now, if your child is going through that toileting stage, I'd probably just put a couple of pairs in if you want to, just to make it, so you've got a few pairs in there. And then this stays at school and only comes home when it needs changing. So what I'd say is don't put your best stuff in it, because it might not come home very much. So just, pants, socks, t-shirt and trousers, and then at any point you think actually they've grown, and particularly when the summer comes it needs changing over, we'll just shout and we can change things over in those bags. So these will come home. And library bags. So each child will have a library bag. And they can bring home a puzzle, a book, a game, so they can choose what they want to bring home. So it's a lovely thing to do because hopefully they choose a book that you haven't got at home, or a game or a puzzle, and it's like a nice opportunity to share at home as a family, that special time. And on there, we've also got Jane Jigsaw, and we do the 7 caterpillars as well. We've just introduced the caring caterpillar at the moment. So remember 7's quite hard, so we're just like with this, just one, talk about it, and then keep reaffirming that when we go on to the next one. And also, these will be on there as well, as we introduce them. So these can be changed whenever you like. So you could have them home for a week, you could have them home for 2 weeks, you could have them home for a day, and you want to change. So you can just bring them in, and Sharon and Karen will change them. What I would say is, there may be the odd day where it doesn't come home the same day. Generally it does, but if we've been out on a trip or something's happening, they tend to get changed the next day. But we do our very best to change those. And the children love it. So that's one of the things. Partnerships with our families. So COVID has been different, made it a bit difficult, and changed the way things we've done. We've changed and adapted how we've done things. And some things have worked really, really well. And, I think now we're getting back to some sort of normality. We're able to reintroduce some of these things. So Stay and Play came back last week for the first time. It was great to see some of our families coming. It's what I do is I do it on a rotational thing. So every week on the blog, I will put which day it is on. It's not compulsory to come. Don't feel you have to come to every single one, but you can come to as many as you like. And you can rock up and have a play at 8:30 with your child. Old siblings are welcome, younger siblings are welcome. And we've also got our Saturday Stay and Play once a half term, which is really nice because I know some of us that have to work don't get that opportunity to come in to preschool and see what's happening. So definitely that's always available as well. Christmas family breakfast, all going to plan. That will happen this year. The last 2 years we've not had Christmas breakfast, but all going to plan that will happen. And we invite our families in and have breakfast all together at Christmas, and the halls are decorated in here, and it's really, really nice. And hopefully next spring we'll have grandparents' snack, where we invite all the grandparents in and we do it outside in the garden, which is a really lovely time because some grandparents are such a big part of children's lives. It's nice to be able to show them what they get up to at preschool, and then obviously information sessions throughout the time as well. So I always say to our families, when you join us at Prince of Wales, it's not about your child joining, it's about you joining us, our community, our family here, which is really nice. Swimming! So, swimming is happening this year. Last term we had everyone swam once before they left preschool, which was really, really good, obviously because of COVID we weren't able to swim. So we used to do swimming on a day, and each term we'd swap that day around and different children would swim and so forth. And we've come out with a new thing this year that actually for swimming we're going to have a week every half term we're going to plan, where everyone will swim in that week. So they should swim once every half term. Definitely this side of Christmas it'll be once, and then I hope after Christmas it might be even twice a term. But you'll get a letter home about swimming and when your child is going to swim. For swimming, they don't need any armbands because we've got them here, so they just need to bring their swimmers and their towels and goggles if they want to wear goggles. They don't have to wear hats unless you would like them to wear a hat. And if they're not toilet trained or they're a bit iffy, then a swim nappy would be great. The reason is if there's an accident in the pool, it normally wipes the pool out for about 2 weeks. So with a swim nappy, just make sure that we can, because other people in the building abuse it. And swimming, it's not a deep pool, and I thought, as most of you haven't time to try, if you want to have a look afterwards at the pool and have a little look, you can. But it's more like a paddling pool, it's really, really warm. So it's not a deep pool or anything like that. But it's a time to build up children's confidence in the water, have a splash, might put the head in the water, get me absolutely soaked. But we have a great time, and it's really, really nice kind of playtime, which is really, really nice. So, and then PE with Miss Treble is on a Tuesday morning. We do lots of PE, we do lots of physical play outside, balancing, climbing. Behind you there is our climbing frame that's just about to be serviced and put into commission, so hopefully this winter we'll be able to have that out. So even though Miss Treble's not in, we do lots of PE as well. So if your child's not in on a Tuesday, please don't think they're missing out on those opportunities, because we do lots of it anyway. Yoga, we do lots of bits of yoga throughout, particularly the winter when the weather's a little bit not so nice. And PE kit. We would like to get back, and not this half term, but next half term, the children that are in on a Tuesday to have a pair of plimsolls here, which they keep here, and they can get changed in their plimsolls, just to build up that independence and getting changed into a PE kit for when they go to reception. So that's PE. And then hot lunches and lunches. So lots of you know about hot lunches and lunches. Hot lunches are done by local food links. And these can be ordered a week in advance. If you would like to order a hot lunch, please speak to myself or to Caroline, and she'll give you a code so you can order them. I would say I love eating the hot lunches, you know, so I always say to parents, if I can eat it, the children definitely can eat it. It's also, if you're thinking of going into reception and you're going to have that, if it's still, fingers crossed, to go with the government with free school meals, preschool is a good opportunity to put in their hot lunch provision now and getting them to learn how to eat it, because the staff have got, you know, there's plenty of staff here. Each table has a member of staff sat with them so they can support them to eat it. So it's a kind of a good opportunity to build them up ready to go to reception if you're thinking hot lunches. There is obviously with packed lunches, when you put apples in and you cut them up and they go all brown and they're not so nice, and the children look at them and go, please don't worry about cutting up fruit, as in apples and pears or anything that goes brown. If you pop it in, an adult will always cut it up for the children more than happily, you know, because there's nothing worse than a brown apple. Grapes and cocktail sausages or anything that's those choking hazards, if they can be cut lengthways in their lunch boxes before they come. If they're not, we will do it. But obviously, if everyone did it, it would take us a long time to cut up lots of grapes. So it would be great if you always cut them lengthways, and cocktail sausages the same, just to prevent that choking hazard as well. Next one. Okay, and PAWSA. So PAWSA is our fundraising committee, who are really, they're great. Without them, we wouldn't get some of the things that we do have in the school, across the school. You know, and they organise sponsored events, Christmas fair, summer fair. The summer fair raised about 1,700, which is amazing. You know, so there's lots and lots of work that goes into that, and they're always looking for volunteers to come and help. You know, and it doesn't need to be, if you feel actually going to the meeting isn't something you want to participate in, there's always just offering an hour at the school fete on the stool, you know, those sort of things. So if you'd like more information about PAWSA, do come and see me. I go all the time, so if you're a bit unsure about going because you don't know anyone, I'm always there. Do come along. It's a really lovely thing, and it's a lovely opportunity to make new friends with the people in PAWSA and get involved with fundraising opportunities. So there's, I think coming up we've got Autumn Fest, which I'm in the process of organising, which is a great family evening with live music, done by the children and Mr. McBee, who's absolutely brilliant, and past families. And we do pumpkin carving, so you pay like an entrance fee and then you can do all the crafts as part of that entrance fee, and there's always a barbecue on. So it's a really lovely evening, and we've also got, I think there's a bingo night coming up, so there's lots and lots of things to look out for with PAWSA. And then PAWSA have a school lottery. So I'm part of this. It's really easy to sign up. It's £1 a week, and you get into the school lottery, and then you can win. You know, at the moment I think the prize is about £20. So some of our fans, and there's always a winner every week in the school whoever's got tickets. So there's a link there. I will put it out, this link. You know, and that's the easy fundraiser for PAWSA that directly goes in. And that's me. Any questions? So we've got a really exciting year. It's going to be really, really good. Lots of things planned. Would anyone like a tour around that hasn't had a chance to get into preschool?
Really?
To see the